Okay, so this session is questions and answers and specifically for those of you that participated through the retreat, questions from any of the talks that we've had over the last couple of days. We'll start with that and see where that goes. So anyone have any questions? You can unmute yourself or put your little hand up, the virtual hand, and I can unmute you.
There's a virtual hand?
There is a virtual hand, yes. We don't have it because I'm the host, but otherwise you'd have it down there. Someone have a question from the phone?
Jai Maharaj, I had one thing that I wondered if you could maybe speak on a little more from Vaishnav Maharaj's class this morning. And he was mentioning about how he would, when new devotees would ask about living in the temple, he would tell them that they were ready when they felt like they would no longer take offense to things. And I thought that kind of played into what your class, when you're talking about the victim, I forget how you phrase it exactly, the victim mentality. And I wondered if you could say a little more about what it would mean to like really imbibe that, not taking offenses in the ashram mentality. Maybe, yeah, what that would mean to understand that more.
So victim mentality versus ashram mentality, something like that. Yeah, I like the point that Vaishnav Maharaj made there regarding living in an ashram, because he mentioned this idea that when you reach the point of not taking offense and not, amanina manadena, basically, of giving respect and not expecting that, actually at that moment you become an official member of the ashram. So the point is that living in an ashram is not a geographical, physical experience. It's not that I'm going to the ashram, now I'm going out of the ashram. If you officially want to be a devotee, if you will, you will always be in one ashram or the other. Even if you say, I was living in the ashram, but now I get married. So you entered the grihastha ashram. So this from ashram to ashram. So ashram means shelter. So the concept of ashram comes from ashraya, speaks about the idea of taking shelter. But again, what does it mean to take shelter? It's not just I go to live under a particular roof, but I'm going to live under a particular idea. That will be my roof. That will be my house, my temple, my ashram. A temple is a state of consciousness. As Srila Saranash will say, Vrindavan is a state of consciousness. Well, an ashram is in a state of consciousness, which is to represent the experience of Vrindavan, which is a state of consciousness. So that on one side, the idea of living in an ashram is not a physical thing. Again, if you are really walking the talk of mani nama nadena, you will be in an ashram no matter if you are living under the highway, under a tree, in a palace, in a forest, in the city. That's a totally a secondary consideration. You can be in the temple externally, but without the proper motivation, without the proper intention, without the proper way of dealing with its members, so automatically you are somewhere else. Because again, ashram means shelter. Shelter has to do with grace, basically, with mercy. Shelter is something that we cannot give to ourselves, as we spell. This is synonymous with grace. I cannot, you won't say, I will give shelter to myself. No, actually, if I need shelter, it's because I don't have the capacity to give that shelter to me. What I can do for myself is looking for that shelter, using my will in that direction. So when I say I need shelter, you are saying I need mercy, basically. I need a gift that I cannot give to myself. So shelter means ashram. So ashram is something, again, if I want to remain in that shelter, if I want to remain in the ashram, if I want to remain under the umbrella of divine grace, Amanina Manadena. And of course, extensions to Nichinan, Sahishuna. These four attributes are pillars for remaining in the perimeter of divine grace. That's the point. I mean, of course, divine grace is something we, how to say, we have to do something for that. It's not just, okay, I sit and I wait for grace to visit, to knock on my door. We have to make some effort. We have to apply ourselves in sadhana in a particular direction. And that particular direction, because applying sadhana only in a robotic, mechanical way won't give mercy as a result. But when you do from a particular mood, when a particular form of relating to Guru and Vaishnavas, mercy will come. And that particular way means this third verse of Sikshastakam. So that on one side, and again, the victim consciousness is exactly the opposite to that. It's that which excludes ourselves from the ashram consciousness, from the ashram mentality. Because again, if you're in an ashram, it means I'm coming here for mercy. Ashram is mercy. So if I'm in an ashram with other people, the other people hopefully are there for mercy as well. Even though they may have mistakes, imperfections, things to be tolerated, as they are tolerating us for sure. But the point is, they are looking for mercies, and mercy seeks no qualification, but seeks, the basic qualification of mercy is our lack of qualification, basically. But sincerely feeling ourselves in need of adhikar. Mercy is the thing that will bring adhikar to us, eligibility. When we hear about adhikar, Kanishta adhikar, Madhyama, increasing our adhikar means increasing the degree of mercy entering into our life. It's not that I will give myself adhikar. No. I will upgrade my dose till Madhyam adhikar tomorrow, and you cannot do that. So the only thing you can do is just understand the necessity of that gift from above, and that gift is non-deserved, is costless. So if you're living with other people and you start to blame others, to see defects, you start to apply justice, if you will. And mercy is coming. Why he's receiving mercy? He did such and such thing. So at the very moment when you are questioning how mercy chooses to express itself, you are getting out of the circle of mercy yourself, because again, mercy is causeless. So the very moment you look for a cause to it and you say, why she's receiving that special mercy? There has not to be a why. Exactly because you may say, she doesn't deserve that. You have the answer. You yourself have the answer. Mercy is not waiting for us to deserve. Comes to qualify us even without it's waiting for such a deserving. So in the ashram, we are put to test that in the ashram, when I mean here is living, for example, in the temple, as Ashram Maharaj said, as Vaishnava Maharaj said. Yeah, we are put to test. And again, ashram means brahmacharya ashram, sannyasa ashram, grihastha ashram. That the point is, whenever you are, you have to relate to people, and you are put to test how you are applying this third verse of Sikshastakam in relation to others. Because as I always say, it's easy to say amanina manadena in a locked room when you are just chanting your rounds very quietly and you have one incense lighting there, and I will offer my respects to all, and I do not expect respect from anyone, but it's you yourself in that room. There are not big challenges. No problem. When you start to relate to others, there you see where you are standing, who you are. And we need that, because life is relational. So if you take out that relational aspect, you end up in Nirvishesh Brahman or something like that. That's not our school of thought. So victim consciousness basically is isolating yourself from the whole reality. In relation to others, if you choose to relate to others from a victim consciousness, that's actually an oxymoron. No, it's like says, I will love you from victim consciousness. I mean, one thing is dismissing the other one, no? It's killing the other one. I will relate to you, no, from a victim consciousness. In the very moment you say victim consciousness, there's no more relationship with anyone. because victim consciousness creates a whole different, like, distorted orientation to things, where the things that had to be accepted and recognized in you, you project them outwardly, and so on. So one makes a mess regarding the principle of responsibility and what should be doing, and you project that the other one should be doing, what I need to change, they should need to change, they should adjust so I'm not disturbed. So basically you are, yeah, as we say yesterday, no, basically to be a victim is not have the willingness to take responsibility for your own self, for your own acts, and for how you choose to react to whatever is happening, coming to your life. And of course, going to an ashram implies you will be put to test, like it or not, because that's how life works. As we said yesterday also, love moves in a crooked way. So it won't be in a straight line that you know what will happen, how it will happen, and you can just know it in advance and adjust everything. So they're always like nice, perfect for the picture. Will never happen. It will be too boring if that happens like that as well. So we need some excitement. So love will move in a zigzag way, crooked way, and that will overwhelm us at the same time. And Guru, Vaishnava, Kriya Mudra, Vigneya, Bhuyaha, the sadhu will move in an unpredictable way, as we spoke yesterday. And yeah, that's important for us to take us out from the victim consciousness. That is a way of trying to control everything, basically. Or it's a way to express your frustration because things are not happening as you would like them to happen. So you become a victim, you blame someone else, and you cry, and you just, yeah, again, complain to Providence as if that will change anything. No, that will make things even worse. But well, that's the weakness of the mind that is out of control. And to have a mind out of control means to be weak enough to start to ascribe responsibility to the circumstances and to other people, and not having the strictness to be strict with yourself, not having that attitude to say, no, I will adjust myself to the circumstances. That's how mercy will come. Tatenu kampam susamiksham mano bunjana vatma kritam vipakam. Says Bhagavat. Tate anukampa means mercy of Krishna. So for someone, tate, Brahma said, tate, those people who are earnestly waiting for your anukampa, for your mercy, susamiksham, it's very lots of hankering, bunjana badma kritam vipakam. They will tolerate the consequences of the previous misdeeds coming to their lives, the result of the previous action. And what will they do meanwhile? Meanwhile, all that will happen, they will with word, act, mind, remain in namaste. Like use all that, as Vaishnava say today. All these curses come and they have such power that they will transform that in a beautiful offering. Whatever circumstance that you may take as a perfect excuse to be a victim, the sadhu will say, oh, this is a very special opportunity to make a very nice offering here. To reach a new level of surrender.
Thanks, Srini.
No? To reach a new level of surrender and offer that new level as an offering, as an updated further offering to the divine. So the sadhu is not weak. Sadhu won't take excuses for not surrendering.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
How much longer until Mother's Day?
I think Subal has the mic on. So actually, the sadhu will take everything as an excuse, if you will, for further surrendering. No? Not an excuse, of course, no, but the real reason. They will understand things as they are. So going to an ashram implies having that type of education or training, whatever the ashram you may be. Again, being in an ashram and remaining under a shelter, under a particular influence that will teach me how to receive whatever is going on around me. in a way to increase my offering, to increase my, and the offering is me actually. I mean, in the beginning we may offer things, results, circumstances, situation, but all that is like a different installments through which we will eventually realize, oh, I am the offering. I am the one to be entering into the fire, and this it's not the rice, the grain rices. It's me. No? Those grains are representing, each grain is one installment after another installment that I am trying to enter into this. So that's important. So again, victim consciousness is basically being evasive of the flute call of Krishna. Let's say Krishna's calling to the flute, and the gopis, as Guru Maharaj will say, had 100,008 reasons to say, I cannot go. No, why? Even when they go and Krishna is not proper reciprocating, they could become a victim very easily. We left so much for you, and we are here now, and you are not. On some level, it appears sometimes they are like criticizing Krishna that term, but it's only from a particular way that they are actually at the end of the day putting all the responsibility on their own shoulders. They are not blaming Krishna even for a second. It's just a Vyabhichari Bhav, one like transitory expression of their ecstasy that takes the form of criticizing the beloved, even in the so-called insulting way. But we see that in the background, they are totally disposed to be totally responsible with what's happening. I say, okay, maybe the providence is like this. We have to accept our destiny. Okay, what to do? We may criticize a little bit Brahma for creating the eyelids. He was not in his most enlightened moments there. And he created these eyelids that we have to blink and we lose sight of Krishna for a second. That becomes a millennium. But eventually, even though there may be to be criticizing everyone, because it seems they are criticizing Brahma, Krishna, it's just a way of expressing their ecstasy. But in the depth of that, they are totally disposed to carry with all the baggage on their own shoulders and never find fault anywhere else. The environment is perfect, Celestial Maharaj will say. So Manina Manadina has to do with this. The environment is perfect. There's no one to blame. Even I shouldn't. The word blame is a mistake, actually. It's a whole misconception. It's not even, okay, I cannot blame anyone. I will blame only myself. That will be also very, very practical, very dynamic. That won't help. I should repent in a healthy way if I did some misdeed, but I should change for better, for the best. So victim is, to be a victim is basically something that is not allowed in the higher circles. I mean, it's not that they will tell you you are not allowed. You won't be able to enter the higher circles as much as you don't leave that stance. You yourself will feel yourself like impeded, impeded of accessing those higher realms, because that attitude is just like stopping you from that. So an ashram, again, whatever ashram you are, has to do with taking shelter, praying for mercy. That's one in one direction, taking shelter, praying for mercy, surrender, all these type of ideals. And the other ideals, victim. It's just the opposite direction. So there can be a crash because they are going two different directions. So, and of course, I know it's not from one day to the other. I'm speaking all this, and you may say, oh, Maharaj, but I cannot stop being the victim in one weekend, in one online Japa retreat. And yeah, of course, I cannot either. But we have to start speaking about that at least and recognize those like patterns in our, when those like appear in certain particular circumstances. Why do we choose to be a victim? So we say yesterday, all of us suffer, but we choose to be a victim or not. So of course, the opposite of being a victim, as we spoke yesterday, is to be a hero, to be a courageous person. And that's what Krishna and Guru wants us to be, because they are heroes, Nayaka, courageous people. And that's why we came here, because we felt inspired by the heroic spirit of our guardians. So, but the commitment with our guardians is, okay, you like my courageous spirit. Well, in order for you not to exploit that, you should become courageous as well. that's the price of the ticket. If you go to a sadhu and you say, oh, you are so surrendered, that inspired me so much, he'll say, okay, so you should become surrendered as well. But if you say, no, Gurudev, I like your surrender. No, I like surrender in you, no, not in me. He'll say, no, if you say that, you don't even like my own surrender. You're just enjoying my surrender. You are gratifying your senses with my dedication. And that's not our school of thought. So there's commitment there. And victim has nothing to do with commitment, basically. Trying to throw the commitment somewhere else to blame, somewhere else has to do this, somewhere else has to surrender, somewhere else has to whatever. So we should really concentrate on our own situation. And only after that, after we are doing our best to try to improve, to upgrade ourselves to our best possible version of ourselves, only then we can look at the rest of the world with those particular eyes, the eyes that have gone up through sacrifice and being strict with myself, being honest with myself. Only then I can look at others from a realistic view. But if I'm not being really serious with myself, I'm rushing to see what the others are doing, I will end up in the Ramachandra Puri Sampradaya, basically. And I think, I hope you didn't feel inspired with that when Vaishnava Maharaj spoke about him today. So that's important. We should really pay close attention to our own fields. Now, Siddha Maharaj will say, oil your own machine, something like this. And not be so attentive of how the others are doing what they are doing. You can see at them only after you have been really serious with yourself. Only then you will be able to be compassionate with others. That's why Prabhupada says, strict with yourself, compassionate with others. But you can only be compassionate with others as much as you have been strict with yourself. If not, you will be strict with others and compassionate to yourself, and it doesn't work like this. Some ideas, I don't know if they help and complement what we have been speaking these days about it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Maharaj. That was a great answer.
Okay, now you have to commit to the answer. Remember that part. That's the most exciting part. I will be very attentive to see the results of such an experiment.
We have another question. Anyone?
I can ask.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're breaking
Could
up a bit.
I get a little more? I'm breaking up
Yeah, that's better.
still. Am I breaking up?
It's better.
Okay. Yesterday on your class on vulnerability, I would like a little more clarification on vulnerability with different levels of devotees. Yeah. Does that make sense, or do you need a little more?
How vulnerability expresses in different levels of devotees?
Yeah.
Corresponding expressions of vulnerability according to different stages or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, as I say yesterday, of course, we are focusing on the third verse of Sikshastakam this weekend, but the whole Sikshastakam speaks to us about different levels of, different stages of bhakti. So it means different levels of devotees, even though the same person is speaking all the verses, but the person who is speaking all the verses beyond all those stages. So he's representing somehow or other different levels of attainment and different levels of devotees, different levels of faith, different levels of vulnerability. Because we said that yesterday, according to each stage, there will be a corresponding type of vulnerability. So vulnerability is synonymous with real humility and real empowerment, as we said yesterday. So let's begin, for example, with Mahaprabhu expressing the second verse of Sikshastakam. He's expressing vulnerability in the sense of being, again, we described vulnerability yesterday. I won't repeat my talk in detail, but basically vulnerability will have to do a lot with emptying ourselves and showing and being brave enough to show up with all our present fragilities and whatever is there. On a relative sense, also acknowledging our dependent constitution as tatasta jivas, and that all those things are totally glorious if expressed in the proper nourishing environment, no? That we are in, we are trying to be in Bhakti Shakti. So in the second verse, for example, Mahaprabhu is really very nicely expressing, describing the mood of a devotee beyond Nishta with the famous line, Durdaiva Midrisham Mihajani Namra. And again, it's interesting because in that verse, Mahaprabhu is first of all showing gratitude towards the wide dispensation of Srinam in the sense of so many names, no? so many Shaktis in quantity and quality in those names, no hard and fast rule for those names, so on. No? Great mercy, but no? And the contrast comes. I have no attraction. I'm so unfortunate I have no attraction. So when the moment of being vulnerable comes, he's appreciating the grace that is coming to him. I mean, it's not that he's being ungrateful and it's not saying, and that means to be vulnerable. No, vulnerable in this particular stage, which has to do mainly with, let's say, with the neophyte practitioner. That's what it's about. I mean, if we want to speak from in gross terms, from Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam, I should start speaking about Madhyam, Madhikari from Nishta. And that's quite connected one thing to the other. Guru Maharaj always intermingles the two, Kanishta, Madhyam, Madhikari, Nishta. So before that, we have varieties of Kanishta Adhika, which is glorious, as Srila Puri Maharaj taught us still. But we shouldn't remain in kindergarten forever. That's the point. But there is a corresponding vulnerability there. The vulnerability in the beginning stage means to realize I'm in the beginning stage. Of course, part of being a beginner will mean to be unable to recognize my vulnerability in a certain stage. That's why Dulal Chandra Prabhu spoke about yesterday, this Utsaamayi. No? At least in that particular point. Utsaamayi means you don't feel very vulnerable. You feel, I feel great and I'm learning everything and I think I know everything about Krishna consciousness. I'm mastering the whole science of spirituality. So it doesn't seem like very vulnerable. And that's why you are weak. That's why that's considered something that will create instability, lack of stability, instability. So the moment the next stage, that has to do a little bit more with vulnerability. You have Utsaamayi and then you have Ghanatarala. No? That means running hot and cold. No? The initial magic moments, if you will, they lose a little bit and you realize, oh, what's going on? There are ups and downs. So you realize your downs. Your ups also, but your downs. So your vulnerable moments. And you have to acknowledge them in order to transcend them. So Mahaprabhu is speaking about that in this particular verse. The vulnerability for the beginner will be to recognize those moments of downs and of course the necessity of going up, but how those ups has to do with grace and not so much with oneself. No? So, and of course there are degrees of this. That's my point. No? And that will be the whole idea of vulnerability. In the beginning, a beginner devotee will express her vulnerability, recognizing, I don't know, very silly, shameful anartha that still is there, very gross thing. And vulnerability will have to do with, okay, that's still there. No? I have accepted initiation by Gurudev, but only I'm a devotee outside. No? My mind has not been converted yet. My ego is not converted. My whole inner world is still, I mean, it's not that it still remains exactly as usual, but there's a lot of prominent influence still there. No? So starting to awaken that. So you will express vulnerability, your weaknesses, your fragility, your attraction to a certain lower taste, but in the context of being empowered. asking for help, taking shelter. And from, let's say, intermediate devotee, the struggle is still on. It's not that it's over, but it will be maybe more subtle for sure. I mean, there are certain anarthas are no longer there. Vishwanath will say, I don't know, Sukritota, Duskritota anarthas are no longer there in Nista, but there are more subtle anarthas there. Aparadota, Bhaktiuta, no? Certain anarthas that maybe in the beginning were not there. As I give the example sometimes. You arrive to the temple, let's say, or to the practice, you're a beginner practitioner. So, and there's a particular corresponding vulnerability there. You may realize, oh, I have this, I don't know, anger, lust, whatever anartha may be there. So eventually with the practice, you purify your heart from those anarthas. So you are no longer vulnerable on one level to that, but you start to become a good devotee, nice devotee, learned devotee, scholar devotee, famous devotee. You have followers, you have good name, reputation, donation, fame, name, no? And it's okay, no problem. That will be byproduct of your good engagement, subhada. But how are you dealing with the things that are coming to you? And maybe you will realize, well, I'm not dealing the best way. So I'm creating new anarthas that were not there in the beginning, in my beginner's stage. When I started the practice, I didn't have followers, I didn't have knowledge, I didn't have fame, I didn't have those type of things. I have another anarthas already solved by proper vulnerability and empowerment. But in more in the between stage, you realize, oh, now the battle is much more subtle. Now it has to do with things that appear in this guise of devotional things, and I can make a whole show of that. But instead, actually, I may be enjoying, gratifying myself by, I don't know, the kijais or whatever. So you have to express your vulnerability in a more refined way there. You have to pay more close attention. But still vulnerability should be there, even in a higher point, because the devotee will feel, oh, now I have received so much mercy by the Vaishnava that had helped to take me here to where I am now. I realize there is some progress on this, but even though I have received that, I still am like, and they will realize, oh, I'm still susceptible to certain influences. So, and the devotee starts to realize, okay, this is not so easy. This is not just like 2-3 years of practice and I'm already there running with the Brajavasis. So that creates, as Srila Maharaj will say, you are getting actually closer to your goal. You are getting closer to the infinite, and you will feel yourself smaller and smaller and smaller. So in that sense, your vulnerability will increase at every step. You are getting closer, imagine, to the infinite. So how you will feel in an atomic particle of consciousness, just on the edge of non-existence, Srila Maharaj will say. We are so small that compared to the infinite, we are almost non-existent. That's our very light constitution. So our light constitution can become glorious and powerful if we get some connection with some important agencies, not what you know, but who you know. That's the whole idea of parampara. But the point is, as you advance more and more, you will feel yourself more vulnerable. You will express yourself in deeper, vulnerable terms because you are getting closer to the infinite. So you will realize its bigness, you see, whiteness, and you will realize your own smallness of size. What to speak in higher degrees, and that will take certain forms that we cannot imagine now. And maybe even if we try to imagine which form vulnerability will take in the higher degrees, we may not be able to feel inspired by that, maybe. We may feel that unbecoming. No? That's why the scripture over and over say, Bahi Bisa Jala Hoy Bhittariyanandamai Krishna Prema. External, it seems like poison. Internal is nectar. Even though since they are crying, they are lamenting, they feel themselves totally unworthy, and they express in terms that are really like intense sometimes. But you cannot imitate that. And you, if you don't understand why they're saying that, it's because you are not going through that experience. That's the whole point. So, and of course we can see that also in terms of, as I said yesterday, even of need to see that as eternal liberated devotees, how they express themselves, especially in separation from Krishna. What a sense of vulnerability they have, how they openly express themselves with full heart, showing their dependence and their necessity of that connection, and they're about to die without Krishna reappearing to them, as the case of the Gopi Gita we're speaking these days. They're singing out loud about that. They're screaming and weeping and swooning about the necessity for that connection. But interestingly, the necessity of that connection is so we can please Krishna, so we can serve him, so we can, it's not please come because we want you to come and we need you for us. It's not for their sake, it's for his sake. So that's another type of vulnerability. It's a vulnerability that the gopis express in the context of Krishna's vulnerability, because Krishna is in need of them. So that's the vulnerability that love manifests. As we say yesterday, love has to do with vulnerability. So the higher the love, the higher the vulnerability. The higher in every single sense, positive, highest vulnerability. And the more you can become fulfilled by that. So it's something that we can speak about till a point, but the rest we have to go through in our own practice and inner world. It's not that we will write all the, okay, I know in this stage, this type of vulnerability will visit me. I mean, this will come. I mean, we can have an idea, but we should at least know that will come. And that's totally necessary and glorious and favorable and sweet. Do not ascribe negative content, never, to the idea of vulnerability in the context of bhakti. So, but it will take many, many different forms, even up to the point of expressing, like today Vaishnava Maharaj was quoting, speaking about Ramachandra Puri and how he was rejected by Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri was in his deathbed. And in that deathbed, he pronounced a very important verse, very famous sloka, that it is said that contained that the essence of that thing that Mahaprabhu came to give. And so on. Something like this. So he was expressing the mood of Srimati Radharani, the separation from Krishna. Where have you gone? Without you, my life is just disappearing from me. And in that particular spirit, so it's totally vulnerable. I mean, he's expressing himself, I don't have you, I never had you. The Goswamis were like this also. If you read Goswami Astakam, you will say that Goswamis never say, I have seen Krishna. They are asking, where is Krishna? Where is Sri Radha? Where is Govardhan? Where? Constantly. And when they have the darshan of them, because it happens now, I'm studying Vilap Kusumanjali, and there are 108 verses from Raghunath Das Goswami. Each verse is a prayer to Srimati Radharani's separation. Vilap Kusumanjali means a bouquet of lamentation. And so each verse is like a flower, he's expressing his lamentation. And behind every verse, there is a particular pastime where Raghunath Das Goswami enters into Swarupa Vesh, or his inner identity as Tulasi Manjari or Rati Manjari, is different name from. He's serving Sri Radha and Krishna in a particular situation, and when he's about to do the service he wants, for example, I don't know, Krishna wants to see Sri Radha and he's begging forgiveness. Radha is in Man, she's Manini, she's in sulky mood, and Krishna wants to enter and obtain mercy from her, and the gopis are just like discussing, say the other day, yes, no, yes, Visakha said, better you let him come, not he will go to Chandravali and others, and Lalita said, no way, no, he won't enter here, and so on. So eventually Krishna comes, and Srimati Radharani agrees to give some mercy to him. So Krishna's folding his hands, putting his head on the ground to his feet and allowing her and she's allowing him to start to decorate. She said, okay, decorate me. So Krishna starts to decorate, but he's not so expert as the manjaris, as the gopis. So he's like, and he takes the feet of Radharani to paint her feet, but he's so ecstatic that he starts to paint and he starts to move like zigzag. No, love moves like zigzag in a crooked way. So he starts to try to draw something very nice, but and Radharani, the gopis start to laugh at him. No, and Krishna say, just wait. I'm just about to do something very nice. So Krishna's name is Kalanidhi, which means he's an ocean of arts. And that's a particular piece of art when it's drawn with ecstasy. So he's like this, and eventually, no, it's not working. No. So at that point, it is there that Sri Radha says to Tulsi Manjari, to Raghunath Swami, you do it. No? So she comes and she push Krishna back, like, give me the pot of lac or whatever, no? And Krishna doesn't want it. They start like to, no? So eventually Tulsi Manjari takes, just see and learn. No? So Krishna's like, so it is said that when Tulsi Manjari is about to paint Krishna's feet, the Spurti disappears. The past and the revelation disappears. And Raghunath Das Goswami found himself in his identity as Raghunath Das Goswami Gaurila, and crying and weeping because he was not able to obtain that service, and he presents a particular verse. And the next verse will have another pastime in that line. So we'll see 104 forms of vulnerability, basically, because he's feeling so, I was just about to obtain my desired service, it vanished. It vanished. No, but that is increasing. It's a crescendo. So we need to be very strong in order to deal with such an intensity of union, separate. But that's the whole purpose of increasing the rasa and the experience there. So gradually we are preparing our hearts for getting closer and closer to such a realm of very powerful emotions. So some ideas, but to understand how vulnerability is expressed until the very end in a very particular way, but most probably in our particular case, it will mainly take the form of repentance, as Mahaprabhu showed in the second verse of Sikshastakam, or eventually the remaining verses there in the different verses of Sikshastakam. We should be honest to relate, to see where do we relate the most. No? I mean, you have to be honest, and if you go to 7th verse, without Govinda, I see the whole world as void. Most probably you realize, no, I don't feel like that. No? My life continues normally. I don't feel a void. I actually feel voids when my desires are not fulfilled and everything becomes like torrents of rains are coming because my selfishness is not fully satisfied. So we need, okay, that's not my verse. You go to verse 6, maybe that's not my verse. 5, there will be a verse for you, for all of us. So, and generally we start with the second one. The first one is like an introduction and extolling of the glories of Sri Nam. So we need to relate to a particular vulnerability level, and from there progress in the context of vulnerability and empowerment. So, some ideas.
Just wanted to know also expressing our vulnerability in around different levels of devotees. Will we become to the point where we're feeling, realizing our lowness in the presence of the infinite, that it won't even matter that we're expressing our vulnerability in front of different levels of devotees? Is that what it comes to?
Well,
yeah.
I mentioned yesterday briefly that, of course, it will depend on your level of consciousness, because in the beginning, many times we don't like to express our vulnerability because we have tried to do so and we were like harmed or damaged. And again, be careful to be a victim in that moment. No? But just, we were not mature enough to understand. I didn't have, no, we have to take responsibility for ourselves. So we should say, at that moment, I didn't know that I didn't have the capacity to express my vulnerability anywhere and everywhere and deal with whatever result may be there. I realized it's not so, I don't have that capacity. I should be more specific and one-pointed, where I'm revealing my mind, opening my heart, and it's okay, it's perfect. And that's a law in different levels, no? I mean, even if you are very advanced devotee, apana vajana kata yatata dakaribo yatata say Narottam Das. You should not be revealing your bhajan here and there. No? You should share that with certain like-minded people who will be able to understand your expression of vulnerability in order to nurture that. Because we are tatashta, we need to be nurtured for a certain environment, especially in the moment of vulnerability. Mahaprabhu himself, he only spoke Rasa Katha with 4 of his associates. No? And that means he opened himself in a particular way there, and he went in the Gambhira with 2 of them. You know? And that was his most vulnerable last period of his life. He was not expressing that in the open public, and he was Mahaprabhu, because his level of vulnerability required a particular level of reciprocation to that, of nourishing that. So who was at that level? Swarup Damodar, Ramananda Roy, not even all of his devotees. So the point is, as much as you advance, you will still remain like selective in how you express your vulnerability, but for different reasons. Maybe in the beginning, because if you do that, you may be easily affected by others negatively in an emotional, psychic level. But maybe if you're very advanced, because you will be disturbed in a transcendental way, because not everyone is able to fully understand what you are going through. You may even disturb the other ones. No? You follow. You imagine that your spiritual master starts to express her level of vulnerability to a disciple. Well, good example. Madhavendra Puri, we just quoted. He was expressing in a very particular way, and just an unqualified disciple was not able to relate to that. And he started to say, "No, Gurudev, stop lamenting. Why you are crying? You shouldn't live the world like this. Better fix your mind in Brahman." No? No? Nasochati na kankshati, no lamentation, no fear, Brahma Bhuta Prashanatma, fix yourself on the Brahman platform. Madhavendra says, get out of here and let me lament myself properly. No? That's the point. No? Sometimes we see a devotee lamenting and we say, oh, are you okay? And he'll say, oh, you don't understand. Stop crying. I say, I don't want to stop crying, but you're crying. No? That's as Srila Maharaj will say, there's sweetness in pain. No? Sometimes you are seeing a movie and you're crying, and I may enter into the room and I see all of you crying. I say, why are you crying? Oh, because of the movie. I will turn off the movie. And you say, no. I say, but you are crying. Stop. I say, no, but the conclusion is, I want to cry in this particular way. There are different types of tears. The tears that come from frustration and selfishness, from real emotional connection. There is some sweetness there, of what to speak. The tears of ecstasy. So Madhavendra Puri is one example, and also with Mahaprabhu we had that. Mahaprabhu at one point, he was so in such a stage that whoever brought to him any poem, any song, any offering, it had to go through the filter of Swarup Damodar, because he knew Mahaprabhu is in a very delicate emotional state, very high, very refined, very vulnerable, very sensitive to any influence. So if I read something that contains apasidanta, rasavas, any improper mixture of moods, he will be so disturbed. And we want to serve his experience, his mood, not to just throw an element that will be contrary and favorable. So again, not everything and everyone was going to him. That was protected by his associates. So again, according to different stages, we see we have somehow rather to protect our vulnerability by expressing that to people that will be able to relate to that. They will be able to understand us, nurture us, and also they will be able to benefit themselves from our expression of vulnerability. Again, they won't be like overwhelmed, confused, disturbed, whatever. They won't abuse us from that. And so many considerations need to be there, and each one according to their specific stage. And of course, also some people have gone through really traumatic experiences of abuse in this life. So I know that speaking about this is like a thorny topic, but at the same time, it's something to be worked on and transcended. So, but my point is that in those cases, there will be, of course, some specific considerations so the person can do that, exercise that in a sustainable way, healthy way. But it has to be done somehow or other, every one of us in the corresponding level to our present position. Yeah? Yeah. So
Yeah,
here's,
thank you. Thank you very much. That was very wonderful.
thank you. Vulnerability ki jai.
Hi.
Here Sumati has one question. Can I ask? Yeah.
Chandra yesterday was talking about the different stages of an initiative, I think one of them was battling the senses.
Yeah.
And he made a statement about, like, we're gonna keep battling the senses until we get a taste.
Mm-hmm. Have a glass?
And I've heard devotees say, so you shouldn't always be battling your senses. Better to just,
Yeah.
if you could talk a little bit about like that, where to find a balance.
Did you hear Sumati's question? No. Okay, I'll repeat it. She was referring to what Dulal Chandra mentioned yesterday about one of the 6 stages of Anishta Bhajana Kriya, which is Vishaya Sangara, or battling with the senses, if you will, until we have a higher taste and so on. So the question is, because sometimes we hear this concept of having been in the battle with the senses, but sometimes we can conceive that of not necessarily having to battle with them. So she's asking for some words in that regard. So yes, the expression of battle is there. Many times we hear this concept, not the very Bhagavad Gita itself. It's battlefield, it's a war. But it's Siddhanta Sarasvati will say totalitarian war against illusion, and that starts home. So we should understand the background of the term, and not just, or of course of what we hear now. We are approaching Nrsimha Chaturdasi. So that's a very classical misunderstood festivity, in the sense of people going approaching Sri Nrsimhadev for asking help for killing the demons. And we start to conceive the demons again in a victim consciousness. No? So I have this obstacle, this person is like disturbing me at work, and this brahmachari in the ashram, I don't like him so much, and Srinadev helped me to deal with it. No? But, we are to follow Prahlad Maharaj in that sense. And Prahlad Maharaj was never seeing any demon outside, even though the greatest demon was his own father. But he was never saying to Nrsimhadev, please Nrsimhadev, kill my father. He's torturing me. I mean, I'm a young boy, 5 years old. He wants to kill me over and over again. He's not making it because of you, but Lord Krishna, please do something. Never. He never put himself as a victim. And Prahlad had all the main reasons to be a victim. You imagine in the newspaper will be 5-year-old boy who is trying to be killed by his father 108 times, still failing. But no, nothing like that. And eventually, when he had to speak about his father, he said, oh, please, Krishna, be sure that he is benefited and delivered, please. The only thing he had to ask for his father was something good. No, mercy was there, compassion was there. But my point is, some devotees may take Nrsimhadev as, I want to kill the enemies and the battle with illusion and the demons outside there, that they want to be an obstacle to the progress of the movement. Krishna conscious movement is still progressing in spite of us, not due to us. We just took that stance. No? Krishna Bhakti is continuing expanding in spite of myself, not due to myself. So the point is, I'm the obstacle. I'm still an obstacle to the progress of the whole movement. In my own self, let's begin with progress in the movement in myself. How the Krishna consciousness movement is expanding in my own heart, because that's how much you can inspire that in the rest of the world. I mean, you want to speak about expansion. Well, let's analyze how expanded that is in your own heart. So regarding this idea of battling and warfare and all this stuff with the senses, of course, it's a way of expressing the thing. Christ will say, if you want peace, prepare for yourself for war. No, like implying it will be an intense thing. No? Great, unforgettable, heroic, beautiful, but the battle has to be there. I mean, the point is, do not expect to reach transcendence in a comfortable way, from your comfort zone. So you have to, I mean, you won't get Golok Vrindavan from your comfort zone. I mean, Golok Vrindavan means exactly that opposite idea. Get out of your comfort zone and be prepared for the crooked movement of love. Vrindavan means Krishna will play the flute, as Guru Maharaj will say, here today. Tomorrow we'll play the flute there. Tomorrow they will play the flute there. No? So that's happening in our life. Krishna is calling us, some surrender call from that side. Well, let's go there. Guru Maharaj gave the example that time. He said, when I joined Prabhupada, I never thought I would have to leave his movement ever. I felt Krishna's calling me in this direction. So I surrendered full in that direction. But eventually, the flute was sounding somewhere else. No? It was not sounding anymore in the dynamics of the place that I heard the flute. Eventually, I met someone like Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and I felt, oh, the flute's sounding here now. And he felt, okay, I will join his mission, and I will never have to live here. But eventually, the flute sounded somewhere else, and now here we are in Sri Chaitanya. And the flute is sounding in so many other places, even in the context of one particular institution. The call for surrender. So that's taking out us out of the comfort zone. And even when you get out totally from the comfort zone, Krishna will still you will be quite nicely exercised already to move here and there, up and down, every single day in a different dynamic. So that's what we say sometimes. We read the Astakaliya Leela and say, it seems that every single day they are doing the same thing. So the flute will sound in many different directions. That's a very general idea of that. But the ways, the form it will take is totally crooked. So, but the point is, we have to pay a price, and that we'll need to perspire. No? Perspire, some sweating has to be there. In Spanish, the word sweat is suda. So we made the play of words suda bhakti. You want suda bhakti? Tienes que sudar, which means you have to sweat. What suda bhakti? Guru Maharaj will say, before you expect to have certain water coming from your eyes, like ecstatic tears, some other water will have to come from other place, some sweating. And I don't mean with this physical sweating also, it's nice. But you have to make some effort, some sacrifice, internal, some inner sweating, trying to get out from the comfort zone. Every single day a little bit more, here in the flute a little bit more. So that's more the point of the struggle. Because when we say senses, actually the senses are nobody. There's not a person called senses. There are not five guys over there that are inside of me and want me to say, that's victim consciousness. Oh, my senses are driving me mad, but there's nobody there. You are blaming what? My mind is driving me crazy, but mine is inert matter, dual, psychic, but matter. So it's you expressing through that filter, and you're feeding those filters with particular impressions, but there's nobody there. It's like if you say, my stomach is killing me, but there's nobody there. You are killing your stomach by eating junk foods. Stomach is just the victim. Do not put yourself as a victim. So if you say, my mind is driving me crazy, you are feeding your mind junk food, junk ideas, junk impressions, junk sounds, junk touch, junk whatever, through the senses. we will become just junk because of how you're feeding them. But the whole point, as Guru Maharaj teaches us, is not to develop some sort of rejection towards the senses, or this body is so ugly and the senses are the ones who have me here in Maya. No, it's within consciousness. But actually realizing I have received the sadhaka deha by Sri Guru, and if I make proper use of that, I will perceive Krishna through all those instruments. By Krishna's mercy will manifest in that. No? That's the whole idea of how is this verse? Krishna Namadi, how it starts. Now Begraham Indriyai Sibumukehi Jipado Swayami Vashpuratada. I forgot the very first word. Asri Krishna Namadi. Asri Krishna. So this is stated, no? Krishna, his form, qualities, leelas cannot be perceived by the dull, mundane senses. So we say, okay. But after that, say, but when you develop Sevon Mukhe, service attitude, starting from the tongue, those same senses will reveal Krishna. Krishna will reveal through those senses, if you will. So again, we don't have anything against the senses, against the body, against the mind. Actually, the idea is to purify all that. Right? Yesterday I was reading that. It says that in this world we are attached to so many things, and those attachments are like ropes. But when we, that maintain us here, but when we spiritualize our attachments, means we spiritualize those ropes. So those same ropes, now we will be tying us to the Vaishnava, to Sri Guru, to Sri Krishna. So the tying in itself is not bad. It's just you're tying to the wrong post. If you, no? So Damodar Lila speaks to us about the real tying. So it's a way of expressing the situation, and it's realistic. It's real. I mean, when your senses are not under control, you will experience that the senses want to go in one direction. Your senses, again, it's yourself identified with the beast you have created, if you will. No? But there's no one else to blame. But the point is, you are in a particular situation when you find yourself driven to one side, and there's some part of yourself that starts to realize, I shouldn't go there. So struggle starts, because struggle means that. It's not that senses want me there and I go there very humbly. There's no struggle there. You're just following this. Of course, after that there will come lots of problems, but some struggle in that context. But the struggle we are speaking here is about in the context of being a devotee. So a devotee means someone who wants to control his, her mind, senses. So struggle will refer to that stage with mind, senses are not still fully tamed. So you will feel, okay, ups and downs and all this stuff, but and also, as I always say, but be able to accept that as part of the practice. Also, not something that you have just to press a button and that won't be there anymore. It will relax for some time, maybe. And you have to understand this is a symptom that I'm going through the process of bhakti. This is confirming my involvement with bhakti. Not in the most mature way. So I shouldn't remain here, but I should accept that I have to remain here maybe for a while. So what should I do while I have to remain here? Just surrender to the situation, or see how I can improve the struggle, if you will, the battle. Because actually the battle means make those so-called enemies your friend. That's what Krishna says in the Gita. Bandhurat matmanastasya janat vanai vatmanjita anat manasutta satrutevartitat maiva satruvat. Mind can be the worst enemy or can become the best friend. So it has the potential of both. So if now you feel my mind, my senses are the worst enemies and I'm struggling with them, battle here, that means battling with them means not try to kill them, tell to kill the enemy, but try to provide them higher taste, and the enemy eventually will start to like you. Oh, you give me so nice things, give me a little bit more. Oh, I like you a little bit more. Now you do not feel your enemy that much, and eventually, oh, best friends. That means param drishya nivartate, Gita says, tasting having a higher taste. So try to feed your senses with bhakti samskars, basically. Guru Maharaj would say that. Try to fill the pores of your sadhaka deha with bhakti samskar, to saturate them in a sustainable way, but to feel them every single day. That's our daily sadhana and bhajan. Gradually replacing this anadi bhada samskaras, with anadi sita samskaras coming from the eternal associates from parampara. So yes, I agree with the idea of having a positive, constructive approach, but understanding those expressions also as presented in particular, also culture, time, where certain terms and symbols and ideas are to be expressed. And again, the battle is still there. It's not that I don't want any battle. I just want to arrive there very nicely without that much effort. It means you are not really having a dimension of the price. But if you become aware of all the things that are coming to you, you realize actually what I have to do is not the big thing. So in that point, you will realize it's not that big struggle. Even though I feel like a big struggle, whenever I remember how generous is the gift that has came, how unworthy am I of it, whatever I have to pay for that, it's just like, I'm ashamed of paying so little. So we need this contrast, Mahaprabhu was making also. Because if we do not realize what already came is too much, you will feel, oh, this struggle is too much. I have to sacrifice myself too much. You are asking too much from me, Krishna. But when you really look what is already, that what already came, what to speak, what will come, you realize whatever I have to pay is a joke. It's nothing. Krishna, the Gita say, you approach to me and I approach you proportionally, but that's a lie. He's not approaching proportionally. You give one step to him, he will give 10 to you. So, but he's humble and he'll say, okay, I will be balanced there, but it's not a fair game for our fortune. So we are very fortunate. So we should remind ourselves over and over again this whenever any struggle is coming. So we do not feel that as much as a struggle as it really is. Okay.
Any more questions from anyone?
Ball.
Adibol.
I have a silly question, if I may.
No silly questions.
Yeah. It's not related exactly to what we spoke this weekend, rather more to the one from the previous seminar. When chanting, I tend to be a rather slow chanter. So sometimes in 1 hour, if I manage like 4 or 5 rounds, that's good. And obviously that's not so easy to manage 16 every day. Do I need to try to get faster? Although when I do so, I then not always pronounce all words properly, like Krishna could become Krishna or something like this, which I try to avoid. Or is it okay if I just go with my pace, but then manage less rounds?
And what's the answer that you yourself feel intuitively in your heart? That question.
Continue slowly and pronounce properly, and it feels better.
So I'm confirming your own intuition there.
Oh.
Yeah, we are not here running in a marathon of numbers, no? So you just stick to the standard that you feel it's more sustainable and more inspiring, and yes, at the end of our life, nobody will ask us the speed of our chanting or a particular number even of chanting. Of course, it's nice if one commits to oneself to a quota of chanting, but that's only with the purpose of giving some structure to the quality of our chanting. And even if with time we find ourselves that initial quota is too much and we are really more disturbed about, or more focused about finishing the number than on really chanting, we may consider speaking with our guru to adjust that in order that we may chant much more substantially. And if we are chanting substantially, eventually that will take us to increase the number because quality will bring quantity by as a byproduct. So, but better first to concentrate in yes, nice pronunciation, and yeah, no problem. I chant a little bit more rounds than you in 1 hour, but not that many more. So you are not alone in that. It's okay. Now, I was speaking with that one about the other day that we were speaking, the two of us, and we reached the conclusion that the two of us were chanting like 4 hours per day of Japa, but he was chanting like double number of rounds than me. But actually, we say, well, but we are chanting 4 hours of Japa. That's the point, no? It's not so much how many rounds, if you want to speak in numbers, but how much time. Because I can chant 16 rounds in half an hour. I don't think it's possible, but let's put it hypothetically. So I finished my 16 rounds, half an hour, and you are chanting maybe 5 or 8 in 2 hours. So the point is, who's chanting more? The one who chanted 16 rounds, or the one who chanted 2 hours and in more time? So again, no, it's not some like fixed rule about that. One should embrace what one feels favorable for one's budget. So again, it's only confirming the voice of your intuition and Chaitya Guru speaking there.
And I would just add to that I know of some cases where Guru Maharaj actually had his disciples just chant a certain, like for 2 hours or for an hour, and don't count because it was so.
I
There.
have done that for a while, sometime, and it helped. And I have some devotee friends who do that also. They are not counting, but they say, okay, but per day, 2 hours or whatever. Yes, they're trying to concentrate on the chanting, as we say, not on the counting. So we are chanting, not counting. So something. Okay. I don't know, someone.
Any other questions? And we'll say, because we have a few more minutes, we're gonna have a wrap up. And if we don't have any more questions, we'll just have our wrap up. But if you have a question, just not even about the weekend, just a general question that you would, it's an opportunity to have a sadhu here to answer it for you.
Pranams Maharaj, can you hear me?
You sure?
Sure, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in today's class, Guru Maharaj was talking about Narad Muni as an example of a bhakta and nishta and his darshan of Krishna. And I was wondering, is that exceptional for a devotee and nishta to receive Krishna's darshan? Or is that something that is more of a common experience for someone in Nishta?
No, it's not a common experience for someone in Nishta to have Krishna's darshan. That's something that starts to become common in more advanced stages like Bhava. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is describing in Madhurya Kadambini how the devotee subjectively feels himself and experiences Krishna according to each stage, and how he's responding to that. Lots of vulnerability there as well, because they are having the darshan. As we say always, what must it mean? What must it be to see Krishna, to really have Krishna's darshan, and after that, stop having it. No, you cannot look for anything else but to have that darshan again. So it is said that in Bhav, these darshans are really coming and going relatively. Of course, it's not continuous. That will be after the devotee attains officially the spiritual realm and have Krishna's darshan in an ongoing base, when he has Swarup Siddhi and Vastu Siddhi getting birth in earthly Gokul and eventually in Golok. He will be associated with Krishna personally. But before that, he will have like flashes of that will become more and more and more like often till ongoing connection is there. So the example of Narad Muni that Guru Maharaj mentioned, I mean, it's not an exceptional one in the sense that the Nishta Bhakta, devotee Nishta, at some point may have the darshan of Krishna. But again, it's not that he will have that darshan in a continuous way. Actually, we know the example of Narad Muni specifically, he only had that darshan once. And it is said that he heard the voice that the Lord said to him, okay, now you have seen me, but you won't see me again in this lifetime. So he gave the darshan and gave the assurance, not any more of this in this lifetime. So try it, but do something with that. No? turn the darshan in your heart. No, so of course Narad Muni. So that's sometimes defined also as bhavavas, or the shadow of bhav, in the sense that sometimes Krishna may manifest himself to a devotee who is not in such a stage as bhav, as to give some impetus, you say, like to further pushing impetus towards the goal. He's already doing things nicely. He appears to reveal himself as to confirm, you're doing okay, but no more in this lifetime. But that devotee after that, of course, you can imagine how much will intensify her practice. So he will reach the further stages. So in Nishta, that can happen. I mean, it can happen every stage whenever Krishna likes, but it is mainly described that in Nishta that may happen not too much, not too often again. Interestingly, Narad Muni had that darshan, but it is said that he, one thing that was still a lack of qualification for Narad Muni at that stage, but that he was residing in the forest. Because we must say, no, his Narad Muni's mother left, he burned the house or whatever version, he left the house, he went into the forest, he intensified his bhajan and eventually he saw Krishna. So it is said that in the Bhagavad, it is said that there are three types of residence in the three modes, tamas, rajas, and sattva. So residence in tamas means to live in a brothel or something like this. Residence in the city means to live in rajas, in a rajasic environment. And to live in the forest means residence in sattva. And nirguna residence, transcendental residence, means mandir, a temple, ashram. So Narad Muni was attached to residing in the forest. He had a sattvic attachment there. So it is said that he needed to polish that. No? So Krishna said, this lifetime, that's all. Polish what you have to polish, and eventually you will join me on an ongoing basis. And we know, eventually Narad Muni gets darshan of Krishna quite often. Whenever devotees see Narad coming, they know he has news from Krishna. He has seen Krishna. He always is in touch with him. So that's the point. No? Eventually he only saw once, he disappeared, but eventually he obtained ongoing association and being a transcendental paparazzi, sharing the news of Krishna here and there and everywhere. So it can happen in Nishta somehow or other, but as much as you advance Ruchi, Shakti, especially Bhava is described as, that will be considerable like glimpses of that till you eventually enter into the eternal permanent identity, spiritual identity, and that will be an ongoing experience.
Thank you, Maharaj. Very helpful. One more follow-up.
Okay.
If I'm wondering how to understand that experience of receiving Krishna's darshan before one has cultivated their own sarup, which, as I understand, is kind of like the eyes, the angle of vision you would see on Krishna. So, like, what angle would you see on Krishna, of Krishna, before you've developed that and you receive his darshan?
I think he's asking that.
The detail.
Well, how if you see Krishna's darshan before you've actually realized your actual relationship with Krishna is, well, how will you be perceiving him?
Well, that will depend on which stage you are when that darshan is manifested, no? Because According to each stage, there will be a type of perception. If you're in Nishta, that's something. If you are in Ruchi, that's something. But anyhow, at whatever those stages, no, I mean, the point, the darshan is there to not to disturb yourself, or to confuse yourself, or to make you, I don't know, commit aparat towards that darshan. That's not the idea. So, and it's something very subjective, and I cannot, I mean, it's difficult to put in words like what will it be and how you will manage to deal with that at that moment. You really have to be there. And the same darshan will help you to deal with the situation. It's not that, oh, I don't know, if Krishna just appears now in front of me, what will I do? Well, Silasya Maharaj will say nicely, he say, if Krishna appears in front of me, I will say to him, wait 1 minute, that I will have to ask my Guru Maharaj if you are the person he has been speaking to me about. So that's a good beginning. If just Krishna appears and you don't know what to do, you know, you are not sure. Are you the one my Guru Maharaj is speaking about, or you are just like a fake Krishna, like the Brahma Vimohan Lila? Maybe you're a fake Krishna. Once someone asked Srila Siddhar Maharaj, have you seen Krishna? And he said, the Krishna I want to see is not easy to see. He mentioned the Krishna I want to see. There are many Krishnas. There are levels of perception of Krishna himself. But the one I want to have darshan of, that's not a cheap one. So it's not a matter of, maybe I saw him, but it was a cheap version of him. If you will, cheap, no, I don't want to with opera, but there are degrees of appreciation of Krishna. Some people may have seen some level of Krishna, and some other may have not been seen a higher level of Krishna. Who is better positioned? So the point is that one, no? Oh, sorry. So it depends if he appears in Nishta, he appears in Ruchi, he appears in Ashakti, but no, the point you should not be frightened about that. He will appear when he knows he can appear, and he will know how to appear in order to nurture whatever position we are now, to go on to further progress in our practice. I would say it's just that, not entering into more details that could be just some intellectual elaboration of something that goes way beyond the reach of our intellect. And another way, of course, of revealing that is, of course, when we speak having Krishna's darshan officially and seeing Krishna and so on, but on one level we are already having Krishna's darshan in another way. We are having darshan of the deity, which is Krishna actually, or Harinam is Krishna. Sri Guru, Sakshat Haridena, Samashsart is Krishna, Bhagavad Prasad is Krishna. So I will say better we concentrate on the darshans that are coming to ourselves now in so many ways, because if we do not know how to deal with those, I mean, most probably we won't have an idea what to do if Krishna gives official darshan, if you will, 100% in front of us. So better we start to train ourselves to know how to relate with the different manifestations of Krishna in our daily life, the form of Srinam, Srimurti, Sadhu Sangha, Guru, Prasad, so many ways. He's somehow or other giving his darshan. So as we are doing that properly, we will find the answer to the other question in our own hearts eventually.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you. Thank you all of you for your time, for your questions, for your participation in this retreat. Now Archon Siddhi will follow up with some words, but I will leave here. Thank you very much. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Sriman Mahaprabhu ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavrinda ki jai.
Padmanabha Swami ki jai. Haribol. Okay. All right. Well, we're coming into the wrap-up section, and I just now it's an opportunity for us to hear from all of you about your experience, what your takeaway from the retreat is, because we want to continue to develop these series of retreats and keep the momentum going. So it's really helpful to hear from you what really was impactful for you, what you found to be helpful for your practice. And for those of you that were here for the last retreat and this retreat, that, you know, if you can say how that affected you last month during the month in terms of your practice, if you found it helpful. I'm going to just quickly go over the things that we've done this weekend to kind of refresh your memory, because I know sometimes I think, yesterday, what did we do? Yeah, I can't even remember what I did yesterday on the retreat, so I can imagine it would be a little foggy for you all too. So this was the schedule yesterday. We had a Japa tune-up. I led that, and we did reviews. We did a review of Japa tips, and we assessed our Japa, where we're at, our baseline. And for those of you that were at the last retreat, we're able to look at how you kind of answered those questions last time, and if there was progress this time. And then we had Julal Chandra gave a class on Anishta Bhajana Kriya. And then in the afternoon, I did a presentation on the art of practicing humility. That was with a PowerPoint. And then we wrote a humility practice plan for the next 30 days. And then we had a breakout group where you shared your plan in groups of there were 4 of you in a group. And really would like to hear from any of you that were in those groups, how that went for you. And also there was a morning breakout group too, where you shared your Japa plan. So I'd like to hear about that. And then last night, Padmanabha Swami gave a talk on vulnerability and empowerment. And then today we had Vaishnav Maharaj gave a talk this morning on having respect for everyone and not expecting respect for yourself, part of the Trinata P verse. And then Swami Tripurari Gumaraj gave a talk on Nishta and Japa. And then this afternoon we've had questions and answers, Padmanabha Swami. And here we are at the conclusion of our retreat. So I would like to just maybe go and, kind of go to each of you, and you can say, pass if you feel uncomfortable to speak. All right, so I'll just, so I'll just come in and you can just unmute yourself. If you don't unmute yourself, then I'll, in a few seconds, then I'll just move on. Think that you don't want to say anything. Bye. You're first.
Haribol. Well, I wasn't able to be at the full class yesterday, but I did catch the class at the end and today, and I was at the entire first Japa retreat. And I guess first I would just like to say thank you so much for yourself and all the advanced devotees for putting this together, because it's just so valuable. And selfishly, I feel like I don't mind the quarantine going on so long, because it's just endless Zoom association, and it's really great. And I definitely felt I definitely was able to take advantage of the inspiration, especially from the first Japa class, the first Japa retreat, I should say. I felt it in my rounds. One thing I did or have been doing that has helped is actually kind of what the question that Ganga Sakti brought up of slowing down my rounds and pronunciating a little bit more. That's been really helpful for me, along with just, feeling more inspired from all the association and everything. So yeah, I just really appreciate it, and happy to be just thankful to get everyone's association. I guess would be the best I can add to everything right now.
So I wonder if we go back to semi-normal in the future, would you take a weekend off to join us?
Oh yeah, I'll be able to structure my time and use my vacation better now to be available to all of this as I can. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have you on these retreats. Okay, thank you. Was there any favorites that you had, or was it all good? Oh, you were just on today, so.
Well, one thing that was really interesting for me was Guru Maharaj's class today, where he was mentioning the difference between belief and faith. I hadn't heard it really talked about that way, and I thought that was really kind of amazing, like how devotees could have different beliefs in a detail, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just based on their nature. They believe in a certain way that gives them more fuel to their faith, and I thought that was really a cool point today.
Nice, thank you so much. Ganga Shakti, you want to share?
Haribol. I'm very grateful for this seminar. I was able to be also the first one. What I really like is that we had a different theme this time, connected with humility. I didn't expect that. I thought it would be more like along the lines of the previous one, but that was a great surprise and it was very helpful. I really liked your presentation, Archana, yesterday. I think that was my highlight of this weekend, because it brought up many thoughts in me and kind of gave me ideas what I would like to improve in myself. Yeah, I think that's all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you for participating in both of the retreats. And we always say that really these retreats are, you're more than half of the equation, your participation and your enthusiasm. And so thank you. A lot of beautiful smiling faces on the ones that we could actually keep the cameras on. That was really nice. So hopefully we'll see you at the next one. I will see you on the classes too, the Sunday classes and the special festival classes. Daniel, is that my friend Daniel? I don't know. It's not gonna answer, so we'll move on.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Sorry.
Oh, it is. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Wow. So you just.
I was just listening in. I didn't catch very much of it, but what I heard was really, really, really interesting. So thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us. We'll have to
Thank you.
let you know when we're having another one.
For sure. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Kanaram, you want to share something? There he is.
Hare Krishna. I was only able to catch a little bit of what happened today, a few minutes of the class, but I was thinking about a point that you made last week, just about the nature of like japa and sadhana being like urgent and important, or important and not urgent, and like, so like I don't feel that like japa is something that's urgent, but I have tried in the past month to make it something that's important and like make it more of a priority. And I think I've been more regular of doing sadhana every day in a better way, and like carving out time for it almost every day over the past month. So I think that between this month and this meeting and the last meeting, I think I've noticed some personal improvements, which has been awesome. I'm sure it's due to good association and well-wishing from all the Sangha members. So that's been really helpful. So
That's wonderful. Yeah, that's what really makes me want to do more of these, is when I hear that the practical application and improvement and the devotees that participate. That's what makes it all really meaningful to me. So thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Very nice. Okay, Omkar, would you like to share something?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Haribol, pranams to everyone. It's very nice to be part of this last little moment, I guess, and we've been busy moving, so we didn't catch unfortunately, Guru Maharaj's class this morning or anything else. But yeah, this is wonderful. I really hope we can take a part. Been struggling without much of Sangha, except my dear brother here who's taken up on bhakti so nicely, and we're practicing hopefully together soon more and more. But yeah, it's been kind of grueling leaving Madhuvan and all the association and coming back into this vortex of just total craziness. So this is fantastic. Your guys are doing this. So yeah, all the greatness to you, and thank you. Keep up. Hopefully we can continue partaking from now on.
Yes, and so also to remind everyone that there is a class Wednesday, Sringadev's appearance day, that Guru Maharaj will be speaking on the topic. So please join us for that. That's just a couple days away. So, okay, well, thank you for joining us for the last part, and we hope to see you for more of these. Okay, Joe, you were here for pretty much everything this weekend. You want to give us and kind of news, so it'll be really nice to hear what your impressions were.
Okay. So I'm kind of old-fashioned, and I like going somewhere away. You know, if I'm going to retreat, I need to retreat away from,
Yeah.
you know, everywhere. So I was kind of skeptical very much at first. That, you know, first of all, the computer. It's like I can just turn the camera off and do some shopping and just, you know, check the weather, see what, you know, who's died, who's lived, whatever. But surprisingly, I only did that once or twice.
Wow, good for you.
And and as far as being home, I've carved out a space for myself where I don't have a whole lot of distractions, so I was able to sit here and focus on the material and focus on trying to listen more. And I think having like different speakers helps a lot. I know even if the speaker who can be the most profound, amazing, whatever, sometimes if you listen to them for 6 to 8 hours, you're just kind of like, yeah. So like hearing the different perspectives and all this kind of new material for me from different voices, and also just having, you know, somebody from India in the morning, just kind of like, oh, yeah, we can do that. Whereas, you know, it's one thing being in the woods in North Carolina, and it's another thing, you know, just like, oh yeah, all these people, some of these people in Europe and everywhere are, you know, burning the midnight oil and, you know, losing sleep because they like, I need to do this, I need to do this, and it's really inspiring. And I think I'm really happy. I'm so glad that y'all did this and that I was able to participate.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. It was really inspiring to have you on and see you smiling and paying attention. And I was like, wow, this is a new person, you know, new to our tradition philosophy. I know you're not new to your meditation, and that's all been part of your life for a long time. So please join us more.
I plan on it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Eric?
Hare Krishna. Yeah, this was a great experience, just like the last Japa retreat. I think one of the things that really stood out to me that was that I felt like I didn't get it at first, but then as we progressed through the Japa retreat this time, it made more sense, was that in the previous one, it talked a lot about like more like directly like practical tips of like, you know, make sure you're sitting properly and this and that. But in this experience, it seemed like there was a lot more talk about like cultivating the right mentality and the mood that is necessary to chant effectively. because, you know, I really like how Padmanabha Maharaj puts it about like, we're not here to count Hare Krishna, we're here to chant Hare Krishna. And so that requires a degree of humility in cultivating that and vulnerability. And I think the emphasis on basically establishing the right mindset for having, for chanting properly, I think is something that doesn't get talked about a lot sometimes when I've seen like videos on YouTube where it says like, you know, tips on improving one's japa, but they don't talk about that as often as, you know, certain, you know, more like, I guess, mechanical aspects about your pronunciation and such. So yeah, that was really good, and I really appreciated the talk from Tripurari Maharaj earlier today, and kind of as mentioned by someone else earlier about how he was explaining the relationship between belief and faith and how one should help nurture the other. And that's something, especially in the examples that he invoked in that topic, it's something that is pretty relevant to things I've been thinking about recently. And a question I asked him a couple weeks ago, kind of relating to that topic tangentially. So yeah, I'm just very grateful for all of it, and I appreciate the association of you all, and it's just been a great time. So Hare Krishna.
We're really happy to be getting your association on the calls that we've been having and the nice questions. And it's been really wonderful having you on board with us. So please keep coming. All right, my mantra. Would you like to share something in Subal?
Sure, I would. Yeah, first I have to say thank you so much for organizing this. It's really awesome. Thank you so much. It was really nice to hear from different devotees. It's great to hear from the same devotees, definitely, but also to hear different perspectives on the same topic. And actually, my favorite part is hearing what the devotees got out of it. Like right now is hearing what everybody got out of it, because I'm very shallow. I'm not just saying that. So I'm just coming in mechanically because I think I have to. No, but it's so awesome to hear what everybody got out of it, because then I think, okay, let me go back and try to remember those parts that everybody's talking about and see if I can glean something just from what everybody's saying, because I didn't myself get that. And I really like the breakout groups. I think just for me that helped hold me more accountable in a personalized way. So I wasn't just like, yeah, like I was saying, not just showing up because I'm obligated to, but okay, I really have to take part in this because I'm in a small group and I'm talking to devotees personally.
That's really nice. You have accountability and having to show up and support each other. It's great.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Subal?
I really appreciated getting to hear Dulal speak and Vaishnav Maharaj for sure. I'm happy to hear from them, and just in general to be with all the devotees in the Sangha. Just feels so much better knowing that they're also in the world.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it. So keep doing this. Let's keep doing it.
Yeah, let's keep doing it. Let's make it happen.
We'll be there.
All right, Sargrahi. Dasi, what time is it? Let's unmute you. I can't unmute. There you go.
It's almost one in Finland,
But
it's not that late. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. It was wonderful. It was as wonderful as last time. So And it was very practical for me, which I liked very much. And I was surprised with the topics that, and like I think Eric said, that it's about changing the mindset, the advices we've got. But they were very practical when we were going to the little groups, and especially after your class, when we were supposed to make this program for next 30 days. I find it so much helpful, and I started already today. It's my first day, and yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. But it was very practical just to see these things which you were saying about humility, how to kind of break yourself to try to change these bad habits. Like you were mentioning this repetition compulsion of Freud. So it was so great to kind of notice in myself. Yeah, I'm using same tools and I'm expecting that it will come out different results. So yeah, I made this plan, and I hope in 1 month when we will see each other, I will say yes, I did some of it. Yeah. So thank you very much. It's wonderful. I know here is late, but it's so worth it.
it's so wonderful to
Thank
have
you.
you. And thank you for staying up late to be with us. And it means a lot for us, believe me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So Gopi, would you like to share something? Maybe not. Okay. Gopal Nandini? There she is.
I want to pass, but I think Krishna Chaitanya wants to say something.
Okay.
It was nice having a theme, humility, nishta, anishta. That was cool. I liked the breakout groups. It was nice to see old friends and begin to make new ones. Gosh, there was something else that was in my mind, but now I don't know what it is. Anyway, yeah, thank you. It was great.
Well, great. And thank you so much for being on again this time. You both were there for the last one. And yeah, that means a lot to have you guys with us.
Well, there was one more thing I remembered. I liked, I didn't get to hear the whole class, but Guru Maharaj, I thought it was interesting, those verses that he brought out in regards to Nishta and the confidence the devotees had. I liked that. Just hearing how much they were into it and they weren't going to give it up.
Nice.
Those were some nice verses.
Yeah. Boy. Okay. Gordon Ryan, would you like to say anything?
Sure. It was just nice to check in again and get inspired to chant better, everything. That's all I was going to say.
Yeah, was there anything in particular that stood out for you, or was it all good?
Yeah, I'll just say it was all good.
Okay. It's an easy out. All right. Let's go back to Amala Bhakti. Amala Bhakti, would you like to share, or are you going to pass?
Oh, there. I just unmuted myself. Thank you. Haribol. I'm aware that I crashed the weekend this morning. I'm very grateful that I did. I started my morning. Every morning I connect with Mayapur TV and listen to the class given at Nugalokadam in Hillsborough. That's the way I begin my day. And today Prabhupada spoke. His lecture was dated October 26, 2020. And it was an auspicious way to start. And then I joined in I listened to so many classes today. I'm a bit overwhelmed, but I was able to hear Swami Vaishnav speak, and in the translation by Swami Padmanabha Maharaj was exciting for me for one particular reason. I needed to have the translation, but also I have such an affinity for Spanish. So I was able to hear in two tongues, which is extraordinary. And then, can you hear me okay? I get nervous.
Yeah, very fine.
Thank you. And then from there, Gurudev's class was stunning as well. And it's just been such a march of a devotional inspiration today. It went on to Padmanabha's question and answer period, and now this wrap up. I just can't express the depth of my gratitude to the devotees and what it means when we are in isolation in various ways. And I can think of a couple of ways that I'm experiencing isolation right now. So to be so close to you all and so far away at the same time, it's that business about vulnerability and empowerment. I know how vulnerable I am and how empowered I feel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for showing up for the retreats and classes, and just the support of the Vaishnavas is just, it's our life. It's so important to have the connections that we have. Anybody else want to say anything? Did we miss anyone? I think everybody spoke. So I guess we'll wrap up here and say goodbye. Not just a temporary goodbye. We'll be seeing you soon. Hopefully Wednesday, many of you could get on for the Lord Sriniv's class, and then every Sunday we have Japa Sunday from 10:30 to 11:15, and then we have Guru Maharaj's question and answers at 11:30. This is, of course, Eastern Daylight Savings Time. I think the world revolves around me, so I'm saying my times, and I know you guys have all different times, but that's why we have our iPhones and tell us what time is it in so-and-so, North Carolina. So hopefully we'll just keep doing these, and our Japa will become our most urgent and most important activity that we do every day, and we'll make it a top priority. And the transformation that Bhakti brings, it will come much faster. We can really become serious about these practices. And so let's support each other and let's do it. Let's go as fast as we can. And yay, Haribo!
Haribo.
All right, so we'll see everybody soon. And stay well. Hare Krishna.